In the news tonight, authorities say cleanup operations at Oistins is almost complete. Over 270 illegal firearms destroyed. And in sports, the Windies Women whitewashed by the English in their ODI Series.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
There, good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, an intense effort to clean up Barbados' first major oil spill is almost complete. Today, teams from the Barbados National Energy Company Limited and emergency agencies continued efforts to remove the residue from the crude oil, ensuring none gets into the sea. Anesta Henry and cameraman Chris Wood visited the area to catch up on day 2 of that cleanup operation.
From early this morning, emergency officials were on site at Oistins, working on the final stages of the oil spill cleanup operation. Minister of Energy and Business Senator Lisa Cummins is reassuring Barbadians that government is committed to ensuring a thorough cleanup.
And we don't finish until we're finished. So we're not walking away just because the immediacy of it has passed. We remain still on the ground. Even if you don't hear from us constantly, we will be putting out information subsequently by way of the media, you as our partners, keeping you updated as the process comes to an end. It does not end today. The teams will tell you that, what the process is going to involve, but it will continue over the next few days because, as I said before, it's not done until it's done and completely cleaned up and there's no residue of oil.
Crude oil was discovered leaking near the Barbados National Energy Company Limited's facility in Oistins early Friday morning. As a result, emergency officials sprung into action to contain the spill. Their efforts were successful and the majority of the oil was recovered before sunset. BNECL's Group Health and Safety Manager, Damian Kathleen, says investigations revealed there was no leakage overnight and the water is now significantly clearer in the marine outfall. However, the strategic cleanup plan is ongoing.
We've brought forward an interim dam into the marine outfall to push our contaminated material further in, and that allows us now to start concentrating the sand that we can remove. So with assistance from the MTW and NCC, we've been removing some of the contaminated sand from the outfall. This is what you see going on behind me. And we have begun the flush, once more started the flushing process. So we have gone by our facility north and we've started a flush down to get, as the Minister has said, all of the residues out of the subterranean drains that lead to the marine outfall because we want to get all of it out.
And Barbadians are being assured a triple-layer mechanism has been put in place to prevent any oil residue from slipping into the sea.
So the berm we use would have been clean sand from the shore, we packed it up, and then we reinforced it with, so we use the sargassum that had washed up, it's our benefit. So we use that to compact the seaward side of the berm because the sea tends not to wash away the sargassum as fast. So then, seaward of that, of the sargassum, we then laid 2 layers of absorbent boom. Should anything come out, seep through our boom, through the outfall, through the berm, through the sargassum, the boom is there to catch that.
Mr. Kathleen says the cleanup operation will not be called off until experts are satisfied. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Well, businesses in Oistins significantly impacted by the crude oil spill are now back in full operation. And while many of them were forced to close most of Friday to facilitate the major cleanup operation, they're happy to be selling again. Here's Anesta Henry with their story.
After being closed during the day to allow for the spilled crude oil to be recovered, vendors in the Oistins Bay Gardens were able to open for business on Friday night. Chairman of Oistins Bay Garden Inc., Kimar Harris says, even though vendors did not enjoy their usual Friday night sales, they are happy to resume regular activities.
Nevertheless, we were able to work and we finished work last night at 1 o'clock as usual. But today, we are happy to say that we are not having any sense. Everybody we're having conversations and so forth. Persons are still thankful that the duration was not longer.
And the vendors are applauding the emergency crews for working around the clock to get the situation under control as quickly as possible.
This evening at 6 o'clock, as scheduled, The National Cultural Foundation will be having its sweet lime here at 6 p.m. So we ask those persons that who didn't able to come to Oistins yesterday, fate would have it that we will be having an event here this evening from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock tonight. And then on Monday, we'll be also having our personal event that we have twice a year. Oistins is on fire. And I'm not saying fair because we had oil and it could have been flammable, but this is actually an event that we have created for the last 7 years that we have around this time.
Vendors located in the area of the Granny's Car Park were unable to operate on Friday, and they too are happy to return to their spots. Monica Bayer is one such vendor.
Well, yesterday we were looking forward to come down, but as we get this news, we was a bit disappointed, but we come today, but we lost a little bit of, money yesterday, but God is great.
Though business is back to normal in the busy town, authorities say the cleanup operation is ongoing. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
A number of guns taken from individuals who were arrested were destroyed by police this morning. In fact, lawmen say they wiped out some 271 illegal firearms, some of which were high-caliber weapons.
These firearms range in caliber from .22 up to 12-gauge shotguns. Now, these firearms came into the possession of the police as a result of persons being placed before the court and convicted, and as a result of police carrying out searches throughout Barbados.
The African Union is protesting what it deems as the mischaracterization of the financial status of the African Export-Import or Afrexim Bank, whose credit rating was recently downgraded. Fitch downgraded Afrexim Bank's credit rating to one notch above junk on Wednesday with a negative outlook, citing high credit risks and weak risk management policies. The African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, a governance program of the AU, says, however, the decision was erroneous because it miscategorized credit. It argued the reasoning behind the move, particularly concerning credit risk, is flawed and legally unsound. The APRM now wants Fitch Ratings to re-examine its criteria and assumptions in this case and engage in technical consultations with Afrexim Bank and other relevant African stakeholders. Alarming, that's how Chief Executive Officer of the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Greta Yearwood, has described statistics regarding strokes in Barbados. Barbados National Registry statistics show 700 strokes were recorded in 2022. Ms. Yearwood says the foundation, through the support of its partners, including the Ministry of Health and Wellness, have helped lay the groundwork for a new generation of what she termed heart-smart Barbadians. Ms. Yearwood's remarks came during the Heart and Stroke Foundation's 40th anniversary media conference. Although the anniversary was marked on April 18th, Ms. Yearwood says they intend to celebrate all year. While reflecting on the years, she says the foundation's programs and initiatives have shaped lives and strengthened communities.
Our commitment over the years has not only raised awareness, but also directly affected lives through transformative programs. And here's how. Beyond certifying individuals across the country in emergency cardiac care services, we have exceeded expectations in the training and certification of individuals across the country, strengthening our national response in critical moments. We have also expanded our training to primary schools, as ensuring the next generation has life-saving skills.
Coming up on Newsnight, we'll hear about the BIDC's plans for Centers of Excellence. Barbados Investment and Development Corporation has plans to open Centers of Excellence to help entrepreneurs in the near future. The announcement was made during the Trade and Innovation Expo at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium. Akeem Klinkett was there, and he filed this report.
According to information specialist at Export Barbados, Teresa Carter, there is one shared space for entrepreneurs, and it has helped them to increase their capacity in terms of creating bulk orders for supply and demand. Ms. Carter says this has helped the industry because it creates a space for dependability between business owners and consumers. She says because of this, there are plans in place to open 10 new centers of excellence in other areas of business, and this will only make the market more diverse.
The International Food Science Center is a shared use facility, and what that does is if you don't have the capacity, if you don't have the builder, if you don't have the machinery, you could come, book some time, pay a small amount, and you can use all of our equipment, you can use our staff. So for instance, Carrington's is bottled and labeled by us, you have Old Duppy, you have One Drop, you have so many different products being done at the shared use facility. And for some time, we know the condiment sections have been struggling. The condiment industry has been struggling to have people come up to capacity to be able to export. So that shared use facility is just one center of excellence that we are going to do. So you're going to hear about centers of excellence in fashion, you're going to hear about it in manufacturing, you're going to hear about it in so many different areas. We have 10 on the books to bring out, and these are supposed to help our small businesses get to that capacity building level.
One of the businesses that has benefited from these centers of excellence is Carrington's Rum Cream. Owner Tyreek Wilson showed how important it is for small businesses to have these resources available to them.
Working with Sport Barbados and by extension the International Food Science Center has really worked to transform my business. So before I started producing there, I was producing at home. So I had this big chef table in the kitchen, and almost every other day I would be producing, and it really wasn't efficient. So in circumstances where I would make like 300 bottles in a week, at the Food Science Center I can make 300 bottles or more in a day. So it's really transformed the business, it's made it a lot more efficient, and now I'm in a better position to meet demand locally and regionally as well.
Meanwhile, one other company is trying to help lower the fear of knowing medical results. Arena Health has some machines that are allowing persons to know their results in 10 minutes. They believe they can help Barbadians.
Been here just over 2 years, and yeah, it was a real shock to see the statistics and just kind of walking around seeing obesity rates, cholesterol levels being high, glucose rates being high, and it was like, hang on a minute, I can do something about this and want to do something about it. You know, this is going to be my home. So I want to reach out to everyone in Barbados, covering all the parishes, and say make it affordable, and whether it be someone who's very, very young, to get them educated, and then they can tell their parents, their grandparents, you know, and make a change.
The Trade and Innovation Expo will end on Monday. Akim Plinkett, CBC News.
Minister of Sports, Youth and Community Empowerment Charles Griffith has encouraged young entrepreneurs to pay close attention to customer service. He was speaking at the YES program Entrepreneurial Development Training at Sky Mall. In his address, he spoke to the importance of customer service in business and why it should always be paramount.
You should always fall back on the basics that I drill every single time that I speak to a YES class, which is customer service. Customer service is the basic that you should always fall back on. Because when everything fails and you're able to get me to return to your business because of the service that I receive, then you guarantee a sale as far as that is concerned.
Also in his address, Mr. Griffith compared the program to basketball and asked the young entrepreneurs to stay the course and master their skills, which will then lead to success.
Don't believe that your business is a standalone. You will be competing with others. But if you have the basics, the customer service down pat, and if you did all the drills that you were supposed to do in terms of fine-tuning the management and how you market and how you dress and how you speak to people, then you have a good team, a solid team that will win every single time. And the championship will also come into play because, like I said, the idea of being the champion is a good thing for you to brag about. And the championship is how your business functions at the national level.
In local cricket, defending champions Wildy have a 243-run lead over Wanderers at the close of Day 2 of Series 5 of the BCA 3-day elite competition. Penn at Dash Valley resuming the day on 238 for 8 in their first innings. Wildy were bowled out for 278 before restricting Wanderers to 140 for 8. They then closed the day on 105 for 3. Meanwhile at Cane Gardens, Signal Globe Financial BCA Youth lead IGS Insurance Brokers Yorkshire by 197 runs. Scores: Youth Youth 205 and 149 for 2, Yorkshire 157. At Bank Hall, Windward has a 20-run lead over Empire. Scores Windward 295 295, Empire 277. At Forest Square, ESAFE Pickwick lead UW by 172 runs. Pickwick 156 and 119 for 6, UW 103. And at Beckers Road, Bayview Hospital, YMPC require 145 runs for victory against Superb Glen Gladiola. Scores Gladiola 136 and 149, YMPC 124 and 17 without loss. Well, the Barbados Football Association has officially named Suleiman Nunes as its new technical director, while former national player Kerry Trotman has been appointed the senior women's head coach. CBC's Amar Goodrich-Boyce has the details.
I actually grew up and went to school in Barbados.
Nunes, who was born in the United Kingdom but raised in Barbados, has been appointed to the position of technical director on a 2-year contract until 2027. He will be responsible for overseeing the BFA's football operations and developing a sustainable model and sporting identity, focusing on long-term success and player development. His responsibilities also include player recruitment, coach development, and strategic planning. News was revealed during a media conference at the BFA Technical Center on Thursday, where he outlined his philosophy for football in Barbados.
My focus that I believe that discussing with the BFA is about developing the youth from 5 years old upwards, developing youth talent so that we have players by the time they're 15, 16, 17 that can play at national level, that we have players that we can export abroad and that can play at your clubs in Europe, preferably your clubs in the MLS in Canada, but preferably Europe, because we know that's a higher exposure for them. So that is really my focus, to develop there, because that's where it starts.
The former head of the Youth Academy at Montego Bay United Football Club in Jamaica, who succeeds former Barbados and Wigan Athletic captain Emerson Boyce, is also an educator with a wealth of experience and holds a UEFA B license. He gave his initial thoughts on the talent on the island.
There is talent and potential in Barbados, which I've seen the many times that I've come over the years. Just, I think, one thing that we've talked about is the format of the tournaments. That we, rather than we're looking at 7v7 on a huge pitch, we can restructure so that we play more of like a 5v5. So more touches, players, including the goalkeeper, get more involved. We don't have players stuck in the defensive half doing nothing for 20 to 30 minutes.
Meantime, the BFA also officially announced former national player Kerry Trotman as the new women's head coach and talent development officer.
We want to move forward with discipline, open mind, because of all the different things they have experienced in the past. We need to start with a clean slate. If we bring things in from the past, we just, it always muddle everything going forward. So we want to go forward with a positive, open, clear slate and move things forward in a disciplined, professional way.
Trotman fills the head coach position after it was left vacant by ex-men's national striker Mario Hart. And more Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Well, that's our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.